Hi everyone. Today I want to introduce a Korean film that really stayed with me, All to My Father or 국제시장 in Korean. It's a deeply emotional story that follows the life of an ordinary man whose journey mirrors Korea's modern history. What I found especially powerful is how the film connects major historical events to one family's personal struggles. It reminds us that history isn't just something that happens in books or classrooms. It's something lived by real people, often in silence. If you're someone who loves emotional storytelling grounded in real events, this film is worth your time. All to My Father was released in 2014 and directed by Yoon Jae-kyun. The main character, Yoon Duk-soo, is played by Hwang Jung-min, and Kim Yoon-jin plays his wife Young-ja. I honestly think the casting is excellent with performances that feel honest and live in both. Both of them played their roles very well with good acting. The film became one of the most popular movies, drawing over 14 million viewers. It sparked a lot of conversation, especially among older generations who saw their own stories reflected on screen. There were some critics that they felt it was too nostalgic or even politically conservative, but others praised it for giving voice to a generation that often went unheard. The story begins during the Hungnam evacuation, also known as the Miracle of Christmas in 1950, at the height of the Korean War. As North Korean forces pushed south, thousands of refugees rushed to the port of Hungnam, hoping to escape by ship. During the chaos of thousands of people trying to get on the ship, a young Doksu got separated from his father and his younger sister. Before boarding, his father turns to him and says, "You're the eldest now, take care of the family." That promise becomes a guiding principle throughout Dux's life. That evacuation itself was a real historical event, where US Navy ships helped evacuate over 100,000 civilians. Rescuing refugees had never been part of their plan. Thanks to the General MacArthur, the US Marine dumped their arms into the sea so all refugees can be on board. The movie uses real footage and emotional storytelling to portray this moment, reminding us how many families were torn apart by war. In the 1960s, Doksu makes a life-changing decision to go to Germany as a coal miner. At the time, South Korea was still struggling to recover from the war, and opportunities were limited. Thousands of young Korean men worked in dangerous mines, while many women like Youngja became nurses. These jobs were part of a government labor export program, and the money they sent back played an important role in rebuilding Korea's economy. But for the workers themselves, it meant long separations from family and tough, often dehumanizing conditions. In one scene, Deok-soo collapses from exhaustion, but he refuses to give up. This is also where Deok-soo and Youngja first met. She's working tirelessly as a nurse, doing difficult and often unpleasant tasks like caring for elderly patients, and their shared experience of hardship brings them closer together, laying the foundation for their relationship. And Germany becomes not only a place of sacrifice, but also where love and resilience quietly begin to grow. Later, Doksu volunteers to serve in the Vietnam War to earn enough money to save his family's store. Korea sent many troops to support the US effort, and soldiers receive higher pay as compensation. For Doksu, it's another sacrifice. He ends up injured with a permanent limp and comes back home visibly traumatized. There's a scene where he stares into space, unable to speak. It shows how the damage isn't just physical. He never talks about the war afterward. Like many veterans, he just bottles it up and moves on. The film doesn't glorify war, it quietly shows its lasting effects on ordinary people who never wanted to be heroes, just providers. Years later, in the 1980s, Duxus takes part in a KBS Family Reunion broadcast. These programs were created to help families separated during the Korean War to find each other again. In an incredibly emotional moment, Dox's long lost sister recognized him not through appearance but through memory. She repeats something he said when they were children. This is not a playground. We are not going for fun. Grab my hand tight. It's one of the most powerful scenes in the movie, even though she barely remembers Korean or the past. That one sentence brings everything back. Sadly, their father was never found. The hope Doksu had held on to quietly disappears, but like always, he accepted without complaint. What I took away from this film is how deep sacrifice can run, not just in dramatic moments, but in everyday life. Doksu never chases his own dreams, he just keeps his promise, silently doing what he feels he must. Themes like family duty, personal sacrifice, and resilience through hardship are everywhere in this film. This also explores how trauma can live on in people who never had the chance to heal or even speak about it. It made me think about my own grandparents and what they might have gone through without ever saying a word. One of the most famous quotes in the film is when Doksu says, I just did what I had to do. That line sums up his whole life. He doesn't ask for thanks or recognition, he just keeps going. Director Yoon Jae-gyun tells the story with care and balance. He doesn't over-dramatize, he just shows life as it was with all its pain and quiet strength. The film is a tribute not just to one man, but to an entire generation that sacrificed everything so the next one could dream. All to My Father is emotional, honest, and unforgettable. It shows us that behind every historical event, there are real people with real pain. If you ever wonder what your parents or grandparents lived through, or if you ever wanted to understand Korea's journey from the Korean War to recovery, this film is a good place to start. Thanks for watching, and if you've seen this film too, feel free to share what it meant to you in the comments. Thank you.